Okay, dear friends, I know this one's going to probably be taken down by YouTube. If not, I'll be shocked. Or there ain't going to be a lot of people debating on the comments. If it gets out there, I mean, I'm not a big creator, but tonight I've been pondering a lot of things. And one of the biggest things, I'll give a little background. I'm a believer. I believe there is something after our life, that death is not the end. But I also understand as I get older that the thought of our own mortality, the thought of death, becomes scarier because it's closer. I think of a quote by Jean-Luc Picard. There are more days, there are fewer days ahead than there are behind. And the closer I am, I just turned 48 just a couple of weeks ago. And the closer I am to old age, I don't consider myself old, but the closer that I get to old age, the older I get, I should say, the more I start thinking about death. And again, I, in a way, am a believer. But I'm not really, I guess you can call me a free agent for God. Because I don't like using the term God. Because I don't like naming it. But to help people understand, I will use the word or term God. But I'm going to sit back there, and this has been bugging me for a couple of years now. I mean, for a while I considered myself an atheist and an agnostic. But then one night we were facing a challenge. We had been in this apartment for about 4 months. I mean, we had just came out of homelessness, living on $600 a month, and our rent was like $450 of that. Okay, I mean, you see how much we were. Well, middle of winter with young child, young as in barely a year old, and we were staring down the barrel of a $1,200 power bill. It was one of the colder winters in the town we were living in. And that night, I remember laying in the room and I just prayed to God. Prayed. Didn't really say God. Didn't really say Jesus. Didn't even really say. And I remembered, next thing I know, our manager brought us up a packet and said he'd deliver it. A week, 3 days later, our entire power bill was paid. That really didn't bring me into believing it. I mean, it kind of went, wait, whoa. Okay, that's a coincidence. I'll give coincidence one for that. But several times over the past few years, we have hit hard times and something's happened for us. I can't explain it. I don't want to explain it. I want to call it a blessing because a blessing is a gift, and and as the old adage goes, you never look a gift horse in the mouth. And if you know what that means, you worked with horses. You work with horses. Basically, for all you that don't, to check the health of a horse, you look into its mouth. And if another horse, somebody gives you a horse as a gift, it is an insult to look in the mouth and question the health of the animal. But the past couple of years, I have been kind of paying attention to what's going on and kind of been I'm kind of been like a Chronicle of Revelations or whatever it's called. Kind of seeing how certain things fall into place. And I started listening to this one guy. I'm not going to name him because I do respect him. I do respect him and for what he believes. But I often want to ask him, and every atheist out there, because they swear that God does not exist. They believe that God does not exist. But they sit there and spend their time in the endeavor to prove what they do not believe exists does not exist. Why? Why do you waste your time on a profitless endeavor? Would that time be best served trying to better yourself to gain a greater understanding of existence through all facets? I know I'm going to catch hell from the atheists on that one. I hesitate to say this next one because I'm going to sound like a crackpot. I don't know if I'm going to sound like a crackpot, but I've been kind of pondering this idea ever since I've watched the Ken Ham Bill Nye debate. And really, if you watch it, think about it. Think about what they say. I'm going to start this out saying that all things are possible with given time and emergent technology. And backed up by the fact that with the Webb Space Telescope, I think it's called, with galaxies farther than we know. And I often think about how when somebody says, if you ask somebody, does time have a beginning? They will say yes. But yet, when you ask, okay, if time does have a beginning, does it have an end? And most likely they'll say no. But now, question them. Because logically, for something to begin, something else must first end. Okay? So, if time did not exist before the Big Bang, then how did the Big Bang happen? I myself will believe in two philosophies of time: infinite time, quantum time. Those two factors of time coexist. But quantum time is not dependent on infinite time, I should say. Quantum time, when I use the term quantum time, because if you understand the quantum physics, a quantum particle does not exist until it is seen. And it only exists until it can no longer be seen. That, in essence, is the same thing with mortal time. Mortal time exists because we see it exist. Like on my cell phone, it says midnight, or like me, military 0. And okay, and if say that time does end, mortal time, quantum time does end. It does. It begins and ends. It begins when a person is born. He lives his life linear. Okay? And then he dies. In essence, for that person, time has ended. But for the rest of existence, time still goes on. Same thing with a black hole. And the same thing with the creation of our galaxy. Basically stating that, and if I have watched enough astrophysics shows to get a mild understanding that damn near every galaxy, including our own, has a supermassive black hole in the middle of it. Given in essence, our galaxy is basically one big excretion disk for a black hole. Basically. Now, with that being said, I'm going to use this. I don't mean to offend anybody. But think of a black hole having a decent case of bulimia. Binge, purge, binge, purge. Think of bulimia on an intergalactic scale. Kind of says that our Big Bang isn't as unique as we all think. Meaning that just because our galaxy is a certain billion years old, I'm not certain. I can't recall the number off my head. It doesn't mean that in the span of time it took our world to get where we are today, untold thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of millions, billions of empires could have rose and fell. I know I'm sounding like a crackpot, but I want to get this out there. And we are, as a species, a simple creation. The most complicated thing about us is our mind. And I often talk about, which I'll go in further on some of these topics, about how we could be the regenesis of an older species. And I often think about the entanglings of ancient alien theory alongside Christianity, the Jewish belief, and Islam, the three major. Okay. Now, this is where I'm coming in to challenge Christians. Because as I read the Bible, I don't read it as a religious text. I read it as another style of a chronicle. And everything that it looks to me it's a chronicle of Exodus, possibly across the stars. Because it is said, a lot of people say that in a lot of things, it is imagery. And you think of the flood, a lot of people use the term the flood. I kind of explained it that at that stage in human evolution, we had such little understanding of the earth that maybe that region did flood, and to them that was the world flooding. But I put a little more thought into it, and I don't know how many people watch this. I'm going to be ending this and probably doing another video, but pretty much I want to call it the Daniel Jackson school of thought to a point. And I'm going to get into this probably later. But Christians, I want you to think about this. Okay, with everything I've said, I kind of went off track and stuff, but I'm going to get back on track. I've given you some wandering background. I know I'm going to catch hell for this. I don't care. This is you go out there and put this on the internet, and you put yourself out there, you can expect hits. But you can also expect that somebody may think about this. But Christians, what if, given the philosophy of all things being possible through a given time and emergent technology, that both creationism and evolution happened side by side? Because if you were, and I'm doing the numbers off the top of my head, I could be completely out of the ballpark range, but what if you take the creation timeline and the evolutionary timeline, using the present as a start point, roll them back. In my mind's picture, I see the fact that the creation story takes place several hundred, if not several 100,000, if not more years after the extinction of the dinosaurs. Given the fact that it would allow Earth to heal. Okay, and in some state, you think about it, there has been an identified pre-creation tribe in sub-Saharan Africa. Okay. I mean, if you want to have a go at me, I'll answer. I mean, I'm willing to actually discuss some of these theories on lives and stuff. I mean, I'm open to new information, but I'm also taking from what I see and what I understand, okay? So, thank you for giving me an honest hear. Have a good, and I'll probably be putting up another video tonight.